But there's something to learn no matter where you go. And that's the best part of travel. And whether it's for comedy, for work, leisure, I always enjoy traveling, exposing myself to other cultures, other people. One of the best cultural experiences that I had traveling last year was one of my best friends from college is an Indian man. He had a wedding. Has anyone here ever been to an Indian wedding? They're so fun. It was fantastic, right? So they asked all the guests to wear traditional Indian clothing to the wedding. Not a problem. Beautiful people, beautiful culture, beautiful clothing. The issue is, my friend has a huge Indian family. Almost all of his friends are white. So on the day of the ceremony, when his family was already gone at the venue taking pictures, we were just in the hotel lobby as a giant group of white people inexplicably dressed in Indian clothing. And I will say, if you belong to a nationality or an ethnicity that has your own custom garb, and you ask people outside of that nationality or ethnicity to wear said custom garb, you should provide a chaperone or an escort to get everyone from point A to point B that lets other people know it's socially acceptable, because without it, we just look like a group of racist white dudes who were several months late to an ill-conceived Halloween costume. So I wasn't feeling great. I was a little self-conscious. I was in my head as we were walking across the hotel lobby to get on the bus to go to the wedding venue. And as we're walking as this group, randomly there was one black woman on the other side of the hotel lobby who saw us, and she just goes, "Y'all look amazing." And I didn't know this until it happened. But I needed a black woman to validate my Indian wardrobe more than I needed an Indian person to validate my Indian wardrobe. Because if his family was around and they were like, "Oh, you guys look great," I still would have been like, "Are you sure? Do you think? Are we pulling it off?" Some random black woman was like, "Y'all look amazing." I was like, "Let's fucking go. I'm ready for this wedding, baby. I feel like $1 million." Because those are the rules of fashion. Black woman compliments your outfit, you keep that shit on. Black middle schooler makes fun of your outfit, you take that shit off. Immediately. Black middle schooler compliments your outfit, you keep that shit on for 2 days. If you didn't spill on it, get tagged in an Instagram photo, you try to get 2 wears out of it. Traveling can be great. And I get put in a lot of precarious positions traveling, doing comedy. I remember 2 years ago, I got booked to do a week's worth of shows in Las Vegas. My wife is also a comedian. She got booked to do the week of shows in Las Vegas with me. Our oldest child was only a year old at the time. We didn't want to leave him at home alone with someone else for an entire week, so we brought him with us to Vegas. But because we're both doing shows at night, we had to hire a babysitter. Babysitters in Vegas are so expensive, we just hired a prostitute. Fuck it, this makes more sense for the budget. They're like, "Is there anything we need to know?" I was like, "Yeah, he has a baby dick. Don't make him feel weird about it." It was crazy though, because my son literally learned to walk 3 days before we went to Vegas for a week. And all of a sudden I was like, "Yeah, you've been walking for 72 hours. You're ready to dodge lit cigarettes and crushed beer cans. Out of the frying pan into the fire." Teaching your kid how to walk in Vegas is like teaching your kid how to talk in the south stands at a Philadelphia Eagles game. It's like they might accomplish the mission, but you're not going to like everything they come back with. But I've always had a special place in my heart for Vegas because I love to gamble. I'm actually a compulsive gambler, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I come by it honestly. My mother was a compulsive gambler to the point where when I was 16 years old, she actually made me get a fake ID so that she could take me to Vegas and teach me to play craps. It's true. Taught me to bet on myself. Great life advice, horrible craps advice. We lost so much money. Yeah, I am a compulsive gambler. I even tried Gamblers Anonymous once. Didn't work for me. Too many losers in there. I was there looking for hot tips on the money line. They were sharing their sob stories. I'm like, yeah, this isn't what I'm here for. But of course, I'm not making fun of anyone that struggles with addiction. We all have our own thing, whether it's gambling, drugs, alcohol, sex, food. Everyone has something they're trying to kick. And I respect people who go through the program. Actually, a few months ago, one night, I randomly got an email, completely out of the blue, from one of my best friend's ex-girlfriends who was in Alcoholics Anonymous at the time. And she was at the point of her 12 steps where she was making amends. And so she wrote me an email to make amends, and she wanted to apologize for all the great nights that my best friend and I could have theoretically had that she ruined by being a drunken mess. And I'm not even making fun of her. I thought it was incredibly gracious and humble of her to be willing to apologize to someone who was tangentially affected by theoretically bad behavior. Whereas if I actually stuck with Gamblers Anonymous long enough to make it to the amends, my emails would have been way more petty. You know, it'd been like, "Dear Megan, I'm sorry I called you a stupid bitch for quote unquote ruining the vibe at a hot craps table. In all fairness, I had money on the pass line, max odds in the back. The point was 6, which is statistically speaking the second most likely number to come up. I also had money on the 4, 5, 8, 9, and 10, so yeah. A lot of money out there on the table. The only number that could have come up to cost me all that money is the 7, which, I don't want to point fingers, did coincidentally roll as soon as you came to the table and said, "How's everyone doing tonight?" So, again, shouldn't have called you a stupid bitch. That was my bad. And whenever you're ready to apologize for your part in things, my doors are always open. I don't even want the money back, just the apology. That's my growth. That's my journey. Do we have any craps players in here? Any gamblers in here? No? Nothing? What? Ponies. Oh, shit, you're a real fucking addict. I'm like, you bet on horses, you make me look normal at the craps table. Yeah, gambling is my addiction. I do feel fortunate that I've never struggled with drug addiction because I've done a lot of drugs, but I've always been able to do the drugs I want to do and then just not do them when I no longer want to do them. I've never struggled to actually, there is one, the only drug I ever truly had trouble getting off of was NyQuil. And I don't know if we have any quill heads in the building. When I was in my early 20s, I used to have to take NyQuil every night to fall asleep. And NyQuil will fuck you up, especially if you actually need it. If you actually have a head cold, NyQuil will put you on your ass. So years ago, before I lived in New York, I used to live in Atlanta. One night in Atlanta, I had a bad head cold. I drank some NyQuil. Swear to God, this is true. As luck would have it, that night, a drunk driver drove his car into my house. I did not wake up. I slept through the entire thing. Woke up in the morning, a third of my house was gone. You know what else was gone? My cold. NyQuil, it's very effective. It's good shit. One time after a show, someone was like, "I think you should do that for a commercial for NyQuil." I was like, "I think you missed the point of the joke." Right? I still struggle with sleep. Not a good sleeper. Part of it is I make bad decisions right before bedtime, consistently the same bad decision. Perhaps some of you guys can relate to this. You know when you are so exhausted, you know as soon as you get in bed and your head hits the pillow, you're going to fall asleep. You are so tired, have to pee just a little bit. So tired, you're going to fall asleep right away, have to pee just a little bit. But you're closer to the bedroom than you are the bathroom, so you make that executive decision. You're like, fuck it, I'll just wake up in the morning and have to pee real bad, but I know I'm good because I am so tired. As soon as I get in bed, I'm going to fall asleep. What happens? Get in bed, have to pee just a little bit. And even though you're so tired, you can't get comfortable. So you fluff the pillow. Still just have to pee a little bit. A few more minutes pass. Now you get hot, stick your foot out from under the cover. Still just have to pee a little bit. A few more minutes pass. Fuck it, now you're cold, bring that foot back in. Still just have to pee a little bit. 5 more minutes pass. You get hot again, but you already tried the foot out thing, so now you take off your shirt. Taking off your shirt messes with the pillows that you fluffed up so perfectly. Still just have to pee a little bit. It's another 5 or 10 minutes before, you are finally comfortable enough to fall asleep. But now you have to pee so goddamn bad. There's no way you're falling asleep. And you won't get up to pee because you fought so hard to get comfortable, but even though you're comfortable, you can't fall asleep because you have to pee so bad. So what do? You do nothing. You lay there like an asshole, suffering for the next 30 minutes, refusing to get up to pee because you fought so hard to get comfortable until you literally can't take it anymore. Your bladder's about to burst. You finally get up, you go pee, and while you're up and peeing, you're like, well, now that I'm up, I may as well grab a glass of water, and the entire cycle repeats itself. It's like the M.C. Escher stairwell painting version of nighttime rituals. That reference is for 4 people, every audience. But yeah, I don't sleep well, but I've never been more exhausted in my life. Because as I said, I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. When you have a toddler and an infant in the house, sleep just doesn't exist. Sleep is a non-existent thing in our house. My wife and I have reached new levels of exhaustion that we did not know existed. And I'll give you an example of how tired we are now. Before we had children, my wife and I had an inside joke in our relationship. Where like, if I ever saw an attractive woman and pointed her out, my wife would be like, well, go and fuck her then. But if you do, I'm gonna fuck the guy at the gym. Or if she ever saw an attractive man and pointed him out, I'd be like, well, go and fuck him then. But if you do, I'm gonna fuck the barista at the coffee shop. You know, an inside joke like couples have. Now that we have kids, a few weeks ago, we're sitting in traffic, car pulls up to us in the lane over, my wife looks at the car next to us, looks back at me, and she's like, oh, that's a good-looking guy. And I honestly said, well, go and fuck him then. But if you do, get a babysitter so I can have a few hours to myself. And I meant that shit from the depths of my soul. I was like, truly, we're good. I love you, you love me, we're fine. Go fuck him, have a great time. I need to be left alone. Like, at this point in my life, I need a nap more than I need fidelity. Because it's exhausting. Kids are all consuming, and we actually raise our kids. I know it's rare, but we pride ourselves on the fact that we are actually the ones raising our kids. We don't live near any of the grandparents for help. We don't have a nanny. We are raising our kids on our own. I would love to get a nanny. My wife won't let us because she's scared that I would fuck the proverbial hot nanny. She says if we get any help, it has to be an obese au pair. And I'm just like, that is so messed up. Like, do you really think that I wouldn't fuck an obese au pair? All women are beautiful. We don't body shame. Anyone could get it, okay?